A new dawn in Maplewood. Maplewood was the kind of small town that wrapped its arms around you in the early light of each new day, a place where every face was both familiar and full of promise. Nestled in modern-day Washington state, its streets curved gently along the banks of a winding river, and its storefronts wore layers of nostalgia and hope. It was here that Emily Carlyle, a 30-something woman with gentle eyes and a determined heart, forged her life in a tapestry woven from love, friendship, and personal growth. Emily had always believed that every moment counted. Working in the local home decor store, Sunrise Interiors, she delighted in helping her neighbors find touches of beauty for their own homes. Yet beneath that warm smile, there lay countless questions about her future. She often wondered if she would ever find the kind of love that could ease the loneliness that sometimes crept in after dusk. One breezy autumn morning, as leaves danced lazily to the ground, Emily unlocked the shop and set out to arrange a new window display that celebrated the spirit of the season. As she placed a vintage clock against a backdrop of hand-painted signs, a quiet knock at the door startled her. In stepped Andrew Mitchell, a longtime customer with kind eyes and a generous smile. Andrew, a soft-spoken teacher at the local elementary school, exuded calm assurance. Their conversation, as natural as the rustling of fall leaves, soon meandered from weather updates to reflections on hope and dreams. "I always look forward to your visits, Emily," Andrew confessed gently. "There's something about your creativity that makes me believe in new beginnings." Her heart fluttered at his words, and she replied, "I think we all carry a little spark waiting to be ignited, Andrew. It's in these moments, when strangers become friends, that our sparks light up into something beautiful." In the days that followed, Andrew became a regular presence at Sunrise Interiors. Their exchanges were filled with genuine warmth, and slowly a subtle bond blossomed between them. Yet as the leaves turned to muted gold, Emily found that the deepest lessons often came from unexpected quarters. Her best friend, Jessica Hartley, a vivacious and effervescent soul with the ability to brighten the darkest day, had returned to Maplewood after years away in the city. Jessica's return was like a burst of summer sunlight cutting through the cool, contemplative fall. Over cups of steaming coffee at the town's quaint diner, Jessica confided in Emily about the journey of self-discovery she had recently embarked upon. "Sometimes," Jessica said softly, stirring her latte with deliberate care, "we must leave far away to find out who we truly are. I spent so long chasing something I thought I needed. It turns out I was just lost, looking for home in all the wrong places." The conversation resonated deeply with Emily. For years, one part of her had quietly yearned for a grand love story, a romance that would sweep her off her feet. But as Jessica's words sank in, Emily began to uncover that love might come in many forms, and that first and foremost, she needed to learn to love herself. Spring arrived in Maplewood with quiet fanfare, the sky clearing to reveal delicate clouds and vibrant hues that stretched across every horizon. Emily dedicated herself to exploring her true passions. During the long walks along winding trails near the river, she discovered the peaceful joy of journaling, capturing moments of stillness and insight in carefully penned lines. One warm afternoon, as she sat beneath an ancient cedar tree, a memory of her childhood surfaced, of her mother humming tunes by the window, of laughter echoing through a home filled with unconditional love. That memory ignited a resolve within her, to find happiness not by waiting for the perfect person, but by creating a life rich with meaning, connection, and growth. Often, the most profound journeys began from within. Emily soon found herself volunteering at Maplewood's community center, organizing art workshops and reading groups that catered to every age. In these moments, she discovered that true fulfillment came from uplifting others. One particularly bright day, as she led a group of local teens through a mural painting project, Emily caught glimpses of hope in the earnest eyes of those around her. It was as though the act of creating something beautiful together healed old wounds and mended long-forgotten dreams. The town itself seemed to change with each season, mirroring the inner transformation of its residents. Neighbors who had once drifted on separate paths now found themselves coming together in unexpected ways. At the annual Maplewood Fair, a mingling of old friends and new acquaintances lit up the cool twilight with laughter and shared memories. Under strings of fairy lights, Emily reunited with childhood friends, embracing them and exchanging confidences about the uncertainties of growing up. One evening, amidst the chattering of families and the harmonious sounds of a local band, Emily's eyes met those of Michael Lawson, a thoughtful artist known for his expressive landscapes. Michael's presence was both calming and stirring, his deep appreciation for the beauty that wove through everyday life touched something within her. Over time, their friendship deepened as they strolled by the riverbank and shared stories of past heartaches and future hopes. Michael explained how art could capture the ineffable quality of moments that passed too quickly but left lasting impressions on the soul. Every brush stroke carries the weight of memory and joy, Michael once mused, his gaze fixated on the sunset shimmering across the water. It's in these impermanent moments that we find our true grandeur. Listening intently, Emily replied, I feel that too. Maybe I've spent so long searching for a romance I imagined, that I overlooked the magic in everyday relationships like the simplicity of a kind word or the beauty of a shared silence. As summer settled in with gentle persistence, Emily's heart grew ever more open to life's unexpected chances. Mornings became a ritual of quiet reflection and spontaneous adventures. One crisp day, while arranging a new display of handmade pottery at Sunrise Interiors, she felt a tender tap on her shoulder. It was Andrew, who had returned that morning with coffee in hand and a smile that nearly lit up the entire room. I've been thinking a lot about us, Andrew said, his voice soft but earnest. I know you're building something wonderful for yourself, and that makes me admire you even more. But I wonder if there's room in your heart for a connection that goes even deeper. Emily's pulse quickened. In that moment, she realized that every relationship taught her something important, yet the connection they shared was evolving into something that might be considered love. Andrew, she began, her voice trembling with both vulnerability and strength, I've learned that love isn't just about finding someone to complete you, it's about two people who inspire each other to become even more fully themselves. With you, I feel that spark. I feel seen and cherished in a way that encourages me every day. In the weeks that followed, their romance unfolded like the gentle opening of a rare flower. They took long walks along the old railroad tracks, sharing secrets wrapped in laughter and the soft murmur of the wind. Their dialogues, sprinkled with earnest admiration and playful banter, painted a portrait of a budding love that was patient, kind, and grounded in reality. They discovered that life's greatest triumphs often emerged from small, shared moments, a shared glance, a lingering touch, or the comfort of a silenced room filled with understanding. Yet, love in Maplewood was not confined to romantic entanglements alone. It bloomed in every friendship, every act of kindness, and every bold step toward self-discovery. Emily, whose journey had once felt solitary, found constant support in her community. Neighbors offered impromptu potluck dinners, spontaneous road trips to harvest festivals, and gentle reminders that every setback was simply a prelude to a new beginning. During one particularly challenging period, when the chill of winter began to settle and Emily struggled with a sense of isolation, it was Jessica who rallied those around her. With her contagious optimism, Jessica organized weekly gatherings at the community center, where stories were shared over hot cocoa and homemade pastries. Each evening was a tribute to resilience. Hearts that had been bruised found solace in the loving company of friends. In one such gathering, as snowflakes danced outside, a local elder named Samuel spoke softly about the nature of change. I've seen many winters and many springs, Samuel said, his eyes twinkling with memories, and I know that even the coldest season eventually gives birth to warmth. Let your hearts be like the earth, capable of nurturing life even after the frost. His words resonated deeply with Emily, reminding her that healing and growth were nature's most sacred promises. By the time winter relinquished its hold and a fresh coat of green began to paint the hills surrounding Maplewood, Emily had embraced her own transformation. She celebrated not merely the romance with Andrew, which had grown into a steady, affirming partnership, but also the intricate beauty of all her relationships, the deep bonds of friendship, the unwavering support of family, and the quiet, profound love for herself. One brisk afternoon, as Emily arranged a collection of handcrafted glass ornaments in the shop window, Michael stopped by with a steaming mug of tea and an invitation to visit his new studio on the outskirts of town. His studio, nestled in a restored farmhouse, was alive with the vibrancy of colors and the hum of creative energy. It was there, amid canvases splashed with vivid memories and the gentle clatter of brushes on wood, that Emily experienced another kind of magic, a moment of clarity that art, like life, demanded authenticity and vulnerability. Over shared cups of tea and long, heartfelt conversations, Michael and Emily discussed the impermanence of time and the beauty of each fleeting second. Michael confided his own struggles with self-doubt and how embracing the transient nature of art had brought him solace. Every finished piece, he explained softly, is proof that despite life's unpredictability, we leave behind traces of our soul for the world to cherish. I see that same spirit in you, Emily. Emily's response was a quiet smile and a nod of understanding. I've always believed that the smallest moments matter the most, she replied. Whether we find them in the sparks of love or the gentle companionship of a friend, each moment is a piece of our story. And every story is worth telling. Days and evenings blended as Maplewood's community continued to bustle with life. The annual Maplewood Spring Festival soon arrived, a time when the entire town came together in a celebration of hope, renewal, and unity. Strings of colorful bunting adorned town lanes, and the air was filled with the sweet aroma of blossoms and freshly baked goods. At the heart of the festival, a makeshift stage hosted local performers, storytellers, and musicians. It was a time when every smile and every tender gesture was a reaffirmation of life's interconnectedness. Under the soft glow of lanterns, Emily listened to the heartfelt performance of a young singer named Olivia, whose voice was both haunting and uplifting. The song told the story of a woman rising from past sorrows to embrace a future filled with possibilities, and for a moment, Emily saw her own journey reflected in those lyrics. The audience, captivated by the authenticity of the performance, swayed in unison, a collective heartbeat of hope and gratitude. Amidst these celebrations, Emily found that the love between her and Andrew deepened yet further. Their afternoons became a collage of shared adventures, picnics beneath ancient oak trees, quiet drives along winding country roads, and evenings spent deciphering the language of the stars. With every conversation, every spontaneous laugh, they uncovered hidden aspects of themselves and one another. In these moments, the past's hurts dissolved into a tapestry of mutual trust and respect. One such evening, as the sky shimmered with twilight and the town's lights flickered on like tiny reminders of hope, Andrew took Emily's hand in his. I never imagined I'd find a partner who loved not just the idea of a perfect fairy tale, but the imperfect, true, and honest journey between the two, he said softly. Emily's eyes glistened with unshed tears, a mixture of joy and understanding as she whispered back, in every imperfect moment, we find our true selves. Love is not a destination but the daily steps we take together. The seasons turned once again, and while Maplewood's landscapes shifted with the inevitable rhythm of nature, the lives of its residents continued to flourish. Emily's journey was marked by moments of triumph, tenderness, and the occasional pang of doubt, yet through it all, she held tightly to the belief that love in all its myriad forms was the most transformative force of all. Late one quiet evening, as winter's chill gave way to a promised spring and the town settled into a peaceful hush, Emily found herself alone in the shop. The soft hum of a distant radio blended with the subtle creak of the building as she reflected on the paths that had led her here. In the glint of the moonlight on a polished countertop, she saw the reflections of every person who had touched her life, each interaction a delicate note in the symphony of her heart. I am enough, she murmured to herself, feeling the weight of her journey both as a blessing and a lesson. It was in that stillness she understood the quiet power of self-love, a love that had grown from the wounds of past disappointments and the joyful revelations of new beginnings. Every trial she had faced, every tear and every smile, had woven together into a tapestry that was uniquely hers. In the days that followed, Emily dedicated herself to nurturing her sense of self. She enrolled in creative writing classes at the community center, where her words were encouraged and celebrated. With every penned page, the echoes of her inner voice grew louder, a testament to the resilience and beauty that had long lain dormant, waiting only for a chance to unfold. Her journal soon filled with reflections on friendship, love, and the myriad small miracles of everyday life. And with each entry, she recognized that personal growth was less about grand gestures and more about the small, everyday choices to keep moving forward. One crisp morning in early spring, as delicate cherry blossoms began to paint the town in hues of pink and white, Emily found herself at the small town library. She was helping a group of children understand the magic of storytelling when she encountered Sarah Thompson, the library's gentle librarian. Sarah had a knack for finding that special spark in people. Over the weeks that followed, Sarah and Emily spent many afternoons discussing literature, art, and the subtle interplay between memory and hope. Stories have a way of uniting us all, Sarah remarked one day as they rested among a collection of well-loved books. Every narrative, no matter how small, carries the essence of our humanity. When you write your story, remember that you have the power to comfort others, to teach them that even in the darkest of times, there is always a glimmer of light. Emily looked into Sarah's warm eyes and felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. In that moment, she realized that her story was not meant for solitude, it was meant to be shared, like seeds scattering on fertile soil, with the hope that they too would give birth to something beautiful. As summer advanced once more and the days grew long and golden, Emily's life expanded in unexpected ways. The community center's art projects blossomed into impromptu family gatherings, the little park by the river became a sanctuary for both old friends and new acquaintances, and even the quiet corners of Maplewood held memories of laughter and renewed hope. Every encounter, every heartfelt conversation, was a reminder that even the simplest moments were miracles in disguise. Andrew remained by Emily's side like a steadfast beacon, and together they learned that love was not static but an evolving journey, requiring patience, trust, and the occasional leap of faith. Their favorite retreat was a small lakeside cabin on the outskirts of town, where the still waters mirrored their innermost dreams and vulnerabilities. One starry night, as the gentle lapping of waves against the shore filled the silence, Andrew spoke of his childhood and the endless forest trails that had once been his escape. Emily listened, enraptured by the subtle shift in his voice that revealed both wistfulness and gratitude. "There's a part of me that's always searching for a piece of home," he confessed quietly. "I think I've found it now, in the way you make the world seem a little brighter, even when it feels like the night is closing in." Emily reached out, intertwining her fingers with his, and said, "Every home is built on the foundations of the people we love, Andrew. With you, I feel like I've discovered a safe harbor, a place where I can truly be myself." As the days melted into one another, passion for life blossomed in countless subtle forms. The scent of rain on freshly turned earth, a neighbor's kind greeting on a chilly morning, the warmth of a shared meal on an ordinary day, all were reminders of the beauty that filled Maplewood and, indeed, the world beyond its borders. The turning of the seasons paralleled the evolution of Emily's inner landscape. Through laughter, tears, and moments of quiet introspection, she had learned that each step, even those taken in solitude, was part of a larger, more intricate dance of fate and free will. In the gentle cadence of her daily existence, she found an unwavering belief that every sunrise brought with it a promise of renewal, every sunset a whisper of hope fulfilled. One afternoon, as soft light spilled over the freshly mown lawns of the town park, Emily sat on a weathered bench and reflected on how far she had come. The memories of loneliness and doubt had gradually given way to a deep-seated trust in life's unfolding magic. Around her, friends and neighbors strolled by, smiling, talking, and embracing one another with fervor and sincerity. In that tranquil moment, she recalled a lesson from her early years, that strength is not measured by the absence of hardship, but by the grace with which one rises after falling. She realized that every tear shed in sorrow had irrigated the soil of her spirit, allowing a garden of resilience and compassion to bloom. Emily's newfound clarity inspired her to take on projects that once seemed too daring. She began offering creative workshops at Sunrise Interiors, encouraging women from all walks of life to discover the healing power of artistic expression. With each brush stroke and every thoughtfully written word, participants found not only a means of self-expression but also an opportunity to mend the subtle fractures of their hearts. During one memorable session, a timid participant named Rebecca shared, through trembling words, how painting had become her way of coping with a painful past. Moved by Rebecca's vulnerability, Emily gently said, "Every color you choose, every line you draw, is proof that you are reclaiming your own story. There's beauty even in the scars, and they remind us of how far we've come." The room fell silent for a moment, a silence filled with collective understanding and quiet pride, and then the workshop continued with a newfound sense of purpose. Even as life unfolded with its joys and challenges, the bonds that united Maplewood's residents grew exceptionally strong. Neighbors supported one another through personal storms, and friendships deepened as each person learned to embrace their true self. Jessica, whose return had once signified a fresh start, now found that she, too, had grown in unanticipated ways. Her vivacity softened into a mature compassion as she began mentoring local youth, inspiring them with stories from her own journey of self-discovery and resilience. Late one warm evening in early fall, as the air took on a crisp edge and the first hints of autumn's colors stirred, Emily organized a small gathering at her home. Friends, family, and even quiet acquaintances gathered around a long wooden table adorned with flickering candles and seasonal wildflowers. Laughter mingled with gentle music, and every smile hinted at the shared understanding that here, in Maplewood, their lives were forever intertwined. As the night deepened, Andrew and Emily found themselves drifting away from the crowd to a quiet corner of her cozy living room. The soft glow of the fireplace illuminated their faces as they talked about their dreams, the risks they had taken, and the warmth of the connections that had carried them through life's many twists and turns. "I used to think that I needed a grand love to feel whole," Emily admitted softly, her eyes reflecting both vulnerability and strength. "But I realize now that every moment of courage, every act of kindness, has built the person I am today." Andrew nodded in agreement and replied, "It's the sum of all our little actions that fill the world with hope. When we choose to trust, to care, and to create, we remind ourselves and everyone around us why life is worth living." The sincerity of their words mingled with the gentle crackle of the fire, forming a promise that no matter what trials lay ahead, Maplewood would always be their sanctuary of joy and resilience. In that embrace of shared understanding, every heartache transformed into a lesson, every fear slowly melted into the warmth of compassion. Days blended seamlessly into months as Maplewood moved through the cycles of life. Emily continued to nurture her passions, expand her circle, and dive deeper into the very essence of what it meant to love boldly. Every challenge she faced was met with the support of a community that believed in second chances, and every success was shared as a collective victory. The small town's annual traditions grew richer with each passing year. The Maplewood Harvest Festival, once a modest celebration, had blossomed into a vibrant tapestry of music, dance, and heartfelt reunions. Neighbors who had once been mere passers-by now laughed together, cooked meals side by side, and honored memories of those who had gone before them. In all these moments, Emily found endless beauty in the simplicity of togetherness. One crisp winter's day, when a gentle snow blanketed the town and transformed Maplewood into a quiet wonderland, Emily took a solitary walk along the familiar paths near the river. Each step was a meditation on past sorrows and newfound joys, a reflection on how life's most intricate beauty often emerged from the challenges we overcame. As she strolled beneath arched branches heavy with snow, she recalled the many voices that had guided her: Andrew's steady support, Jessica's carefree wisdom, Michael's artistic insights, and Sarah's gentle reminders that every story mattered. In the stillness of that snowy afternoon, Emily understood that personal growth was not a linear progression but rather a continuous journey. It was the sum of every conversation, every shared silence, and every burst of laughter that filled her heart with gratitude. With renewed determination, she decided to document her experiences, hoping that her words might inspire others to embrace the fullness of their own lives. Weeks later, surrounded by stacks of handwritten pages and fresh bursts of inspiration, Emily began drafting a collection of stories, a compendium of love, hope, and the spiritual tapestry that connected every soul in Maplewood. As she wrote beneath the soft glow of her desk lamp, she marveled at the realization that personal transformation was both individual and collective. In every narrative she penned, she wove the threads of her community, affirming that each person's journey contributed to the greater masterpiece of life. In time, the collection became a cherished gift to the town. Neighbors gathered in the community center to hear selected readings, their voices resonating in the quiet acoustics of the old building. Many were moved to tears as they recognized their own stories in Emily's carefully crafted words. It was an evening of healing and celebration, a testament to the power of shared experience and the importance of holding one another up through both joy and sorrow. As spring once again unfolded its delicate petals across Maplewood, Emily's life shone with the light of countless quiet miracles. Her love for Andrew deepened into a partnership built on mutual respect and gentle growth. Her friendships, nurtured over time, became as inseparable as the roots of the ancient cedar trees that lined the town's avenues. And above all, she learned to cherish the beautiful solitude of her own company, knowing that self-love was the foundation upon which all other love was built. One late afternoon, as the sky blushed with the soft hues of impending dusk, Emily walked down Maplewood's main street with a sense of serene purpose. Every step was a reminder that life was not measured by grand gestures alone, but by the quiet consistency of hope, the everyday gratitude for simple joys, and the courage to keep moving forward no matter how winding the path. In the gentle murmur of conversation at the neighborhood cafe and in the warm smiles shared on the corner of every street, she found daily affirmations that love and friendship and the quiet miracle of personal growth were truly everywhere. Even the gentle drizzle of rain that evening, falling like whispered confessions from the heavens, felt full of promise and renewal. As night gently blanketed Maplewood and stars began to shimmer overhead, Emily sat on her back porch with Andrew by her side. Their hands remained clasped, a silent dialogue of unwavering trust and connection. Gazing at the constellations, Emily mused aloud, "I think each of those stars is a story of struggle, love, hope, and persistence. And just like them, we too are lights in a vast, beautiful tapestry." Andrew's eyes, reflecting the soft glow of the moon, met hers as he replied, "Yes, and sometimes the darkness only helps us appreciate the light even more. Every day with you is a reminder that love isn't about grand perfection, but about the courage to embrace every twist and turn of the journey." Their whispered conversation merged with the serenity of the night as Maplewood slumbered peacefully, confident in the knowledge that tomorrow, like every day, would be greeted with hope, kindness, and the unyielding spirit of community. In that quiet moment, Emily realized that her life, with all its patchwork of experiences, every laugh, every tear, every rekindled friendship, was a living, breathing testament to the power of love in its many forms. And so, as the seasons continued their endless cycle and Maplewood thrived as a beacon of small-town warmth, Emily Carlisle's story became interlaced with the very heart of the community. It was a narrative not of flawless perfection, but of genuine human connection, a gentle reminder that no matter how winding the road or how deep the night, there was always a new dawn on the horizon. In the bright light of another day, as the town awoke to the promise of a new beginning, Emily stepped forward into the unknown with gratitude, courage, and a heart forever open to the wonders of love, friendship, and the endless possibilities of her own growth. Every moment was a precious note in the grand symphony of life, a reminder that, here in Maplewood, each soul had a role to play in creating a melody of hope that would resound for generations to come. As the gentle sound of birdsong filled the early morning air and the sun's rays caressed the dew-kissed streets, Emily knew that the true beauty of life was found not in waiting for perfection, but in always finding the light within. And so, with a renewed sense of purpose and a heart overflowing with gratitude, she embraced the unfolding day, ready to add another chapter of love, resilience, and quiet triumph to the story of Maplewood, a story that, in every whispered conversation and every heartfelt smile, affirmed the enduring magic of simply being alive. In the end, it was the everyday moments, a warm greeting at the corner store, a sincere conversation under a blossoming tree, or a heartfelt smile exchanged between strangers that defined the essence of a life well lived. For Emily Carlisle, each of those moments was a treasured gem, a reflection of the hope that had gently taken root in her heart and blossomed into a vast garden of resilience and love. And it was in this garden, tenderly nurtured by community, compassion and an unwavering belief in the beauty of connection, that she discovered her true home. And so, as the story of Maplewood continued to unfold with each passing season, every heart in that small town carried within it the gentle promise of new beginnings, a promise that no matter how winding the journey, the light of love would always guide them home.